Alright, welcome back to this channel. Behind me, a GT Silver Porsche 911 Dakar, having received a front end PPF installation with Suntech reaction. A little bit more on that later. And now behind me, a Huracan, a Lamborghini Huracan, which is here for this episode. Some viewers, those into the automotive sector, some viewers may recognize this car. PPF, paint correction, coatings, Modesta, Suntech, that and a whole lot more in this episode of White Details. Kicking things off by moving the Porsche through to one side ahead of its collection in a day or two's time. And then we're moving the Lamborghini outside to start the wet work. I know the wash footage may not be for everybody, so if you're keen to learn more, to see paint inspection, to see the polishing, the PPF application, and to learn who the vehicle is owned by, skip through to the 11-minute mark on the video. Otherwise, the wash, it's a vital key part of any detail, particularly important when PPF, paint protection film, is concerned. Ensuring the trims, the badges, the panel gaps, any crevices, they are flushed and contamination free. Microscopic tiny little pieces of dirt which can only cause havoc and give headaches later on during the PPF process. With regards to the wheels, whilst they will be back off the vehicle at a later point in this job, for now, they're just being removed to flush and degrease and scrub the arches, again ensuring a cleaner PPF installation at the front end. And then the arches, the calipers and the wheels themselves will be coated much later in this episode. it inside and washed. Not yet fully decontaminated, chemically decontaminated, but sorry. We've got water spots on the lens, that's good news. Chemical tar remover used for the lower portions, any tar deposits stray on the bodywork, which, pleased to announce, actually is quite a clean car. There wasn't a great deal. It's done 23,000 miles. It's got a bit of history, as you'll see. For now, for me, next, hot water in the bucket, clay bars in the bucket in rotation. The clay bar is going to strip off any surface contamination, be that deposits of sap, this for example, whatever that is. These little lumps, these little clumps, pollen, sap, stubborn contaminants that I need to remove. This is a bit flat on this wing. I think we've seen some paintwork here. But also it needs to be removed before the polishing, because whilst a polishing pad would probably clear most of this up, it's only going to put the contaminant in the pad, in the machine polishing pad itself, which is then a foreign body, and it's then going to be contaminating the pad, and it's a dirty pad which is going to scratch the paint. So the clay bar is a very important step. It's going to take me the best part of an hour perhaps to do that, get it blown dry, get it up on the ramp, and then we'll do some paint inspection. feel a bit bunged up today, a bit blocked up. So basically, at the top of the episode I said about how you may recognise the car if you follow the automotive scene on YouTube, on social media. Owner's name is Matt Jones. Matt has bought the car here this week for some treatment. Matt is Matt Armstrong's right-hand man, cameraman slash manager. I believe I'm right in saying. Matt Armstrong crushing it in the YouTube space in the last couple of years. If you don't know the name and you're into cars, you must have been living under a rock. I've been a follower of his journey for a few years myself. Matt Armstrong, for those that maybe don't know, basically buys crash damaged vehicles in quite a state of disrepair most of the time, and impressively gets it all back on the road and puts it back together whilst documenting the journey and uploading it to YouTube. And I have to say, hats off, because the creation, the storytelling, the narration, the editing, it's all very professional and mighty impressive. Trying to dabble with this myself, I know how much work is involved and how well received Matt's videos have become. So it's great for me at this point to become somewhat involved with Matt Jones's personal car. This car is a straight example in the respect of it's not one of the channel cars. It's not been a crashed, damaged, repaired vehicle. Although that said, we'll see in a second, there is some repair work from resprays at the front end. But to be honest, there's not many cars on the road that haven't seen some paintwork these days. So yeah, it's exciting stuff. I don't think you'll see this car on their channel. It's more for mine and a personal job for Matt Jones for the time being. But plenty to get stuck into. Paint correction today on the PPF'd areas, to be PPF'd areas. And then let's see what tomorrow brings with the film, and then next week finishing off the polishing at the back end of the vehicle. But for now, we'll grab the camera and go around and take a look what we're working with. So respray wise, I believe both wings, perhaps the original bonnet, the bumper. This is obviously not the original bonnet. This has been put on recently by Matt and Tony, Matt Armstrong's dad. They put the bonnet and the rear spoiler on. For the most part, the bonnet's pretty good. It's brand new. We do have weird abrasions here, near side lower corner, and then there are mild holograms in places that need clearing up ahead of the film installation. The vehicle's done 23 or 28,000 miles, but we don't know when the bumper was painted. But I just need to lift the finish as best possible with the polishing ahead of the PPF. You can see it's weathered, it's chipped, it's got a road rash, it has life. It's not a new car basically, so improve the front end as best possible ahead of the PPF going down tomorrow. Quite a lot going on here, but we've got some deeper stuff down at the bottom. There's a deeper mark here, pretty flat. Check this out, so washer jet offside, washer jet near side, it actually has existing PPF still in place with a nice piece of contamination there as well. It doesn't fit the best either. So obviously the original paint, which I'm guessing that is, for whatever reason they forgot to take that off and respray that at the same time they resprayed the bumper. But you can see by the badge alone the amount of impact and stone chips that the vehicle's been exposed to in the past. So the original paint would have had PPF that's been stripped for whatever reason and resprayed the front end. Front near side wing, we are left with, there's a tiny little burn through here, actually on the top, a little door spot there. When this has been mopped and polished and prepped after the respray, they've gone a bit heavy on the corner. There's also a weird little paint defect going on here too. Burn through slash something with pretty dry mottly paint beneath it, an area for me to be cautious of there. And then on the off side, whilst it looks like there's a couple of stone chips in places and it's just generally flat, if we actually zoom in and get a closer look, they're actually in the paint. You can see the little crater, the little divot. So whilst I can apply some touch up to hide the colour difference, there's still an imperfection, a paint fault within the respray process. And when they've painted the wings, they've only masked off until the very edge. They haven't gone in to the full lip, which is a bit annoying. And look how it is under here. We don't know where this has been painted, but it's not the best finish, it's not the best job. And I'll be inclined actually to not have a wrapped panel on this with the PPF, just the PPF going over that into there. Oh. Yeah, it's a bit flaky. Do what we can. Driver's door abrasions, lighter marks, fingering marks around the handles, around the top of the door. It's an obvious place for people to wrap their hands around the paint and close the door. Up on top, holograms, rotary holograms. There are two very faint, larger, longer scratches. A little difficult to pick up on camera, which perhaps someone's had a go at chasing out. hairline scratch here on the bottom of the door. General swirls. We do have signs of repair work here. This wing has actually been painted, and then the side skirt suffers from a mottled paint finish with clusters of overspray splashed down the side. You see all the cloudy patchy bits, lack of overspray. The worst bit is yet to come. Here, look at that, very dull. All this wants to be polished away before PPF installation. Cloudy under there, under the vent. This will need some detailing, finishing off properly. Up on the roof, there's a few ticks. You see the pigtails there on the left. Dash, 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 dash. Remnants of rotary polishing again. Some micromarring, a couple of chips that have been touched over already, not very well. Nice series of abrasions here. Again, up on the roof. Oh, that will polish away, no problem. Down the near side now, rear quarter, under the spotlights. Again, some heavy fingering action around the top of the door, near side, with holograms, polishing marks, a nice scratch running across here. Wing mirror, on the door itself, it looks like the mirror stalk has been adjusted. There's some chafing marks, abrasions where that's been lowered, which led me to investigate more. And then as we look in the back corner, underneath there, an obvious sign of respray, masking mark, taping mark from it being masked up, and that's overspray. You can hear that. The inside of the mirror itself looks a bit dry in the corners. Bit of finger polishing in there required. Top right corner there, look. Don't think the back end looks too bad. We're left with holograms again there. Got the swirls and the light clusters, easier to see there. A slightly worse scratch in the middle here above the reverse camera. See if we can chase that one out. The spoiler itself, I don't think it's too bad. There's just some light bits going on. But the base, again, we saw this earlier, plenty of holograms. Polishing marks, which are robbing the finish. And then we're pretty much back to where we started. PPF does hide a whole array of sins and tragedies, but we do want to actually get it as best as we can. This end, it just needs a bit more work than most. It's not a new car, it's a 2015 car. Right. polishing and lots of intricate hand polishing around the mirror and the mirror stem. It's not necessarily to get the paint perfect, it's just to get it cleansed. Actually, there's quite a few sort of angle sharp creases and crevices behind the mirror that over the years it's accumulated dirt and it's a bit stubborn there, so that all needs tackling, sorting, cleansing, machine polishing where possible on top, and then the finger polishing in and around the mirror lens itself. The near side's going to be worse because it's got all the overspray. There's the wing. Cut and refined, onwards to the near side, and then we go on to the bumper. Come on, Tony. That's the bonnet. That's Matt's dad. That's Matt Jones. Off with the old, on with the new. Well, that is the bumper now cut and it's been refined as well. More importantly, it's been all the finger polishing deep down in the bottom channels and tight at the back of the mesh there, deep in the bottom corner. Whilst this is going to have PPF, all of the edges, the surroundings, the perimeter wanted to be clean. Same as the creases and the sharp lines in the mirrors. All this in there needs to be flushed. But already it's starting to shape up nicely. For now, polishing still, side skirts, so I'm gonna put the car higher on the ramp, and actually there's gonna be a little bit of finger polishing, additional finger polishing to do under here before the PPF. Bit of a scrape there, sadly. Okay, so last night, today's Friday morning, last night you saw the car being rinsed. The purpose there is to flush the panel gaps and the cracks and the crevices for the dust that I've created with the compounding, the polishing, for the bumper, the wings, the bonnet, the mirrors, the side skirts. Now today, we have in the background Rob from Suntech. You may remember Rob from the 100,000 subscriber giveaway special of the Monte Carlo Blue M5. Rob is assisting today on the Lambo. We're gonna get what film we can done down, starting on the hood. Hopeful that the bonnet is a one piece. Obviously, clearly there's no patterns available for this. This standard Huracan bonnet is in storage somewhere. That doesn't exist on the car now. So the pattern that's on the database, on the software, on Core, Suntech Core, doesn't account for all of this business. So we're gonna start on the bonnet, move on to the wings, the bumper, the splitters, the headlights, the skirts, the mirrors. We're gonna document the process as we go, and if we zoom in we can just see some behind the scenes action. And the idea of PPF, of course, is Matt is clearly going to be taking the car on road trips. He might be joining Matt Armstrong on track days. They're going to be off into Europe and doing many miles, and yes, the car is weathered, and yes, the car isn't new, but PPF going forward, it is the best opportunity to preserve what's there and protect the finish going forward with a durable, super glossy and heat activated self-healing finish, which is going to keep this thing looking its best for a long time. Side here, well, over to you. The challenge here, obviously, is the deep channels, to get the film to sit happily, relaxed down the bottom, and then allow it to flow out and flat elsewhere. That's why this young man is here. Whilst I believe I could have managed this on my own, I just don't think on camera it would be that pretty. To wrap the edges now on the bonnet. Now that's had best part of 40-50 minutes to dry out. A successful one-piece install, which is quite the achievement, rather than having some nasty unsightly reliefs and butts and seams and joints. It's been done as one. So I've just got the bottom corners, the excess, the surrounds to wrap, to tuck, to trim and get nice, and then we've got the front bumper, the side skirts or rockers. Front wing is down on the offside, the near side's yet to be done. I've just on the headlights. And we're gonna try and do a bulk install of the rear spoiler whilst the car is here as well. He's got his own, of course he has. They're wrapped as well, are they?
They are, yeah.
Go on then. Action. Door handles as well as the fuel filler cap, because they are high contact areas. Over time they're going to get dull from abrasions and touch. Bit of PPF over the top, but overall progressing nicely. Because the badge is already damaged, you can see the ball has taken impact on his shoulder here. I suggested to Matt to get a price on a new badge. Perhaps not pricey, Lamborghini, but it allows the badge to be replaced but also it's going to allow PPF to go under the badge, so it's a more seamless installation. And the badge, it should have a locating pin here, where my thumb is, and then adhesive, but this is just the spray shop using double-sided tape. Back on the polisher then this morning. It is now Monday. I got the front bumper down on Saturday. Quite a long process to do the bumper start to finish with all the tucking and tidying and heat locking the edges. So very little footage of that because I'm conscious of how long this episode is already looking to be. But we're hitting the paint hard now. The rest of the exposed paintwork is receiving the correction. I'm just up on the top. You see me with the 3-inch work up here. Looking pretty nice. A couple of cuts required. 1 or 2 marks still remain. This is the high contact area where people wrap the hand around it and close the door with the paint. But as we get into the very top corner here, it doesn't make sense. You see how the edge has still got haze there compared to there. The 3-inch there, let me show you. Whilst you can save time, you're also very much compromising the edges for that to get into that bottom lower ½ inch. I wouldn't be surprised if someone takes the edge off the door. So really you want the 1 inch because you can be a lot more controlled. Still being cautious of this edge, but you can come down, tickle that, go across there without completely obliterating. And then of course above the handle is going to be 1 inch down there, and work the perimeter. So I know there was a lot of polishing at the start of this episode. Why didn't I do all the polishing in its entirety before then doing the PPF? Why am I now getting back on the polishes at this point after the PPF? Main reason, the surrounding panels, if I've got everything finessed and finished in nice, then I go onto the PPF. There's lots of toweling down, lots of wiping and drying, and that beautiful, pristine, crisp, freshly polished paint, I want to save that until after the PPF is complete. So we're ignoring the front end now. That's all finished, that's out the way and done. We now tackle the back end up over the top of the roof, and we can come back to sorting all the residue, the smears and the smudges with some more prep in a bit before we get onto the coatings with Modesta. The last little bit of paint correction now on the back end. We've got the base to the carbon fibre spoiler addition, and then the rear bumper. Where's my light gone? Over here. Taping up the top side of the bumper to allow me to get obviously this top ledge, yet to tape up here. But sadly, in places on the plastic, there are a dozen or so strikes where, to me, clearly what's happened here, the stretch, to me, they are impacts from a backing plate when it's been polished previously. So there is a stretch there, look, there, and that's just above. So I think somebody's been to town chasing that. And then this one we saw at the start of the episode there is above that. So unfortunate, there's not a lot I can do with that material other than dress it, sort the exhausts out in a little while, but run some thick tape across here to protect my polishing efforts, and then correct this base plate. Wipe it all down, blow it all down, dust it down, and then start refining. There's a nice example now here on the top of the door. You've just seen me do the 50-50. This is to show the difference between refined and cut. And you can maybe even see the difference in these two spotlights. This one being clear and clarity, this one being a bit bloomy and washed out. Put some more light in it. Whilst the original paint finish on the whole was pretty tough, you can still see my micro marring that's been left behind from the aggressive cutting, digging the defects out, especially after using neat isopropanol alcohol to strip off any remaining residue and filler. But as we go across, boom, refined, cut, refined. The car is already looking a lot better in this state, but actually once the whole thing is like this and it's fully coated, yeah, it really will be a top example. There we go. Wow, well, wasn't that fun? First off, big shout to Matt Jones for allowing me to work on his new Pride and Joy. I'm sure he will be over the moon, delighted, somewhat ecstatic. We shall see. On collection today is Thursday, pickup is Saturday morning. It was -2 this morning out there on the roads, so there's salt, there's ice. I think it's going to be trailered back. Matt will be here in person to see the car when it's handed over. And also, of course, a shout to Suntech UK for assisting with some of the installation back late last week. When was it? Thursday? Friday. I think I remember saying, whilst I could probably tackle the bonnet myself, it probably wouldn't be pretty. I couldn't manage it by myself. I'm not sure many people could. There's that much tension in the valleys to get the film to sit in the bottom. You need 4 hands. You can't get you need 2 sets of hands to control the tension in there and manipulate it in a way which we have. We're very happy with that. So going forward, the car is protected. The high impact areas, ready for road trips, track days, everything that the Mats can throw at it. So elsewhere, it was a multi-stage, maybe a 3 or 4 stage paint correction. It was well above and beyond the sort of minor correction territory, but very happy with the results of the defects removed and the clarity. And that was all ahead of installing Modesta BCO4. BCO4 over the PPF and the exposed paint. It went on the calipers, and then BCO6 for the fancy new rims. All of which encapsulating the car, protecting it, offering ease of maintenance, hardy, resilient protection, gloss. It's come together rather nicely. I need to have a discussion with Matt how the car is going to be cared for, how it's going to be washed. Obviously it's very important, it's vital to maintain the finish now. It has to be done correctly. So yeah, I think all that's left to do really is record the after footage, sit tight and wait for Matt's collection on Saturday. It's a bit exciting, isn't it? It sounds like he might want to do some footage and filming themselves, so that'll be fun. If you're new to the channel, consider hitting subscribe for more content like this as it happens. If you've enjoyed the episode, give it a thumbs up to help the channel to grow. Find WhiteDetails over on Instagram for daily behind the scenes and updates as they happen. We've got a new website coming as well, that's exciting. Other than that, good stuff. Hope you've enjoyed. Until next time, bye for now.
So I've just walked through that door and seen the car for the first time, and I can't believe how well it's come up. Now, when I dropped my car off at gym, it looked good, but this is literally edging on looking brand new, like, if not better. And I didn't expect things like the customer service, the updates, and everything as a customer you get when you come to WhiteDetails. Jim has been next level, and the guys at Suntech with supplying the PPF for this car. Hopefully it should stay like this for a relative amount of time, Jim.
It should. Needs maintenance, but the foundation's done now. So it's up to you guys to A, enjoy it, but B, maintain it and keep it this way as long as possible.
Yeah, and I've been told that I'm not allowed to wash it because I have no experience whatsoever with washing cars, and I probably will ruin it because the paint is at that much of a level, I can barely see a scratch. Is there a scratch in it? I don't think there is. And all the PPF, so all this is PPF, isn't it, down here? All that's PPF, and you literally can't tell the difference between the normal paint and the PPF. Same with the front end, door with a wing. I guess that's the beauty with PPF, is it, if anything, makes the car look better, because now the car just looks crazy glossy. Like, obviously the lights in here are doing the bits as well, but I can't wait to see it in the sunlight. Unfortunately, the weather's terrible outside, so I'm hoping Jim did get some bits before the rain came. And one of the main reasons that I've had all this done is because having this carbon bonnet on, which obviously everybody loves in the comment section, you can't not like that carbon bonnet. This whole front end needs protecting because we're going on road trips, track days, all of the above, so I can enjoy this car. But massive thank you to WhiteDetails, Jim in the background over there, and Suntech. And make sure you guys subscribe and go check them out on Instagram. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, WhiteDetails. Don't include that in the video.
I'll film your screen wash for you, Matt, as well.
Oh, thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Yes, now we're talking. That looks mental. I should have had this done sooner. I think every car needs this doing to it because, wow, that looks mad.